Hello, everybody. This is our first episode of Straight Talk Food for the Soul. I do not have the rights to this music, but it is the desire of my heart that we are going to live to see it happen. And our journey that we're about to go on is going to help some folks. It's helped me. It's helped me. My vision is to open up great dialogue, good communication, and so maybe, and I say church folk because I'm a church folk, so I'm a leader in the church, that we might be able to lead some people to the kingdom. And that's what it is, leading people to the kingdom. And our first episode is going to be about bruised relationships. And this is a tender situation to my heart because I have a bruised relationship with my daughter. And my daughter is going to be a guest on the show. So if you just give us a few minutes, let a few people come on. We just want you to listen to the song, prepare your mind, and just open your heart, and let's see what God's going to do today. And I want to introduce my baby daughter. Her name is Jada Robinson, and she has been my makeup artist and my stylist for years. She is the mother of my 9th grandchild, and she is going to appear right now, and we're going to get started with our first interview. Hello, Jada. How are you?
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. This is my baby daughter, and we're just gonna talk. Families have issues and challenges and situations, and my stylist is fixing my hair, and we're not all the way there yet. Being very transparent, and I want to say being truthful, because transparent just means you can see through to the other side. We just want to be truthful today, and we don't know what it's going to accomplish today, other than we're gonna give God glory. So we're gonna jump in, and questions are gonna be hard. Answers for me to hear are going to be hard, but we're coming out on the other side. And the happy thing about this, God has birthed this. The sad thing about this is the last day that my baby will be here with me in Atlanta. So this is a perfect opportunity for us to put closure on whatever we haven't fixed yet. You guys ready? Because I'm ready. Are you ready, Jada?
Check out my mother's merch. First of all, promote yourself before you
promote myself. It's called Straight Talk Food for the Soul. We even have our little mugs like Wendy, and Wendy said,
Not about to do it. Where's your bag, Mom?
And I do have some other, where? We got bags, we got cups, we got hats, yes. Whatever you desire. We got merchandise.
Okay.
So we're going to jump right in, and we're going to jump right in with a real hard question. We're going to just go with it. And it's my first question to us: when does she feel like the break in our relationship happened?
The break in our relationship. I feel like I started feeling maybe a distance towards once my mom got like a divorce from my stepdad. She didn't do anything that hurt me or anything, but not having the hold that I used to have and seeing them together kind of broke for me. So it was kind of me breaking and not knowing how to explain that as a younger kid, and kind of wanting to rebel, but I didn't want to. I just wanted to be out of the house, but I wanted to be at my friend's house, or I wanted to just be away at that time. And so I would just get in trouble for the smallest things. Not that I was doing anything wrong, but I wasn't communicating that I'm at this person's house or I'm at this friend's house, whether she knew them or not. And it was just me, I guess, trying to escape younger and not knowing how to communicate that, and it got me in a lot of trouble. So
it's funny, this has not been rehearsed. I really feel like that was the break too. I really feel like I failed Jada and all of my kids. We have 10 children that we blended together, and I just feel like I failed her. And not being able to provide a 2-parent home. And I know a lot of parents have that guilt. And with my guilt, I stopped kind of reprimanding her, kind of didn't keep her in line as much as I did with the other kids because I was grieving the loss of my marriage and it felt like a death to me. And what drew me out of it is I was watching a few of my children kind of spin out because they really, really, really love their stepdad. They're close to their father, but they love their stepfather, and he was there every single day, taking the girls out on dates, hanging out with the boys, having long conversations. And Jada would have conversations with them that I wouldn't know about for months, and I'd be like, "Well, really, really, really? I'm your mom," but I had to learn. A lot of times, you can't counsel your own children. That was a biggie for me. That in ministry as well, I would be helping other people's children and drawing them in, and we would taking them in. They're sleeping at the house, we're feeding them, clothing them, and then my kids were spinning out. So I had to stop taking it so personal. So it's funny that that's exactly when I think the break happened, and I don't think it's a break. I think it was really a hard bruise. Because if it's broken, at times it can't be fixed. And I know we're in the process of fixing our relationship. My next question is, what are the difficulties in our communication?
The difficulties in our communication, I would say, is is our lingo or the way we speak. Like, because sometimes in my world, I told my mom something, or she didn't necessarily catch on to what I was saying. Or sometimes I'm a very forgetful person also. So she'll tell me to do something, and it's not an intentional thing to forget, but like I think over the years, everybody has come to see like it's not just like me like not listening. Like I really have a bad memory, so sometimes she'll come home and something's not done that she asked me to do, and I'll do like everything else but has like 2 things, and it'll be like I totally forgot. And then it's just like I can sense that there will be a little tension, but she's not as hard as it used to be because I think she knows like I'm not intentionally just not trying to mop the floor because I'll clean the kitchen and just forget the floor. So it's just like little small things that we coming to understand each other now that we talk more, now that I'm getting older. We found better or different boundaries for each other in the way we speak to each other, interacting. I've also noticed like we may get irritated with each other, but we're quicker to end the conversation now instead of keep going. We know how to agree to disagree. We're working towards it, but it's definitely more a work in progress that we're learning how to agree to disagree and just be comfortable with this person doesn't agree with my point of view and I don't agree with theirs, but I mean, it's just over after that. So it's a work in progress, but our communication is getting better.
I think I've learned to give grace. The grace that I desire God to give me, because I have messed up a whole bunch, guys. A lot. I just have given grace. And she's not me. She looks like me. She kind of has a little toughness like me. But she's not me. And every parent out there, she's just not me. And the way she hears stuff is not always the way that I say it. So now I'm at the point is I have to be responsible how I speak it to her, and she has to be responsible as how she hears it. And when we're having a heated conversation, because most of our conversations are heated, I'm just going to be honest, they heated because she be making decisions and I'm looking like, really? And I hope she doesn't mind. She made a real blunder when she was about 18.
Oh no, I don't mind.
She was like, Came in
What
my
are you
room
doing?
one day, guys, and I was laying in the bed doing my homework, and she was laying on the floor watching TV, and she popped up.
Really?
Mom, I got an idea I want to tell you about. I was like, what, Jada? I think me and Ben gonna get married. My eyes went crisscross and flipped to the back of my head, and my thoughts came directly out of my mouth. I was like, Jada, if you don't get out of my room, this not gonna turn out well for you. And that was the end of that conversation. Little did I know, my wonderful daughter already had packed her bags, and they were in the closet in the hallway by the front door.
No, first, that's not. I told her that I was moving out. Did not tell her that me and Ben were getting married. I told her that I was moving out and moving in with Ben. And that's when her lid flipped. Afterwards,
My lid flipped.
afterwards, we kind of talked, and I told him, according to, how I believed and that I wanted, to do things right, I wasn't just going to be shaking up. Period. So we just decided, like, if we really want to be in on this, then there was really nothing that I wasn't just finna settle for just you just gonna sit here and have me in here, and you definitely not finna give me no baby. No. And we was really like just in a headspace, like I said, trying to run for a really long time and not knowing what I was looking for, but I always had good, like, to give. But I gave to, like, the wrong people. Not saying that he was a bad person, but I'm a giver. And so sometimes when you give to people and they see, like, that's the type of person you are, they latch on to that. So a lot of my relationships and friendships, I think back then, were just based off of me not knowing how dangerous situations can be or how serious situations can be. I just knew that I had a lot of love, and I felt like I was trying to fill some type of hole. And I still do believe, even though it sounds crazy, that I could still have gotten married at that age and still been married. But if you're not with someone who wants to be married or is ready to be married, you can't, because some things just go too far in the wrong direction, and that was never God's intention to go that far. It was just supposed to, some people you're just supposed to meet, literally, and said hey to. But we make decisions to go further with those relationships and friendships, and it was just me running.
She said that so pretty, y'all. I was hot like a firecracker.
She was pissed.
That was Saturday night when she came in and said that was her thought. So Tuesday,
that was me preparing
said,
her. It's what I was doing.
Mom, she came to me Tuesday, and she was like, Mom, you remember that idea I told you about? Yes, this is how it happened.
I told her, did she remember what I was telling her? Because I was telling her that I wanted to move out with Ben. I wasn't necessarily, like, I was asking her, like, what did she think? But I still, to this day, don't understand how she didn't know I packed my stuff, because my closet was in the living room in front of her door. Like, I didn't have a closet in my own room, so my stuff had to be in the middle of the front door.
Here's our breaking conversation. Here's our breaking communication.
And that's what I didn't understand. I thought that she understood. So when she was surprised when she seen my stuff coming, I was like, my stuff been packed for 3 days.
Like, prior to.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't know that at the time. So I'm looking like, my stuff, I didn't just do it on nothing sneaky. Like, I had to take my shoes out, put it in stuff, and I put it all back in the closet.
Y'all see my eye, right?
So when I took it out, and my mom said something, I was just looking like, no, she not finna act like she's surprised about my clothes being packed. I didn't know at the time. I really didn't even know till, like, days later.
That's the clash. She talked about it Saturday night after we got home from church. I'm doing my homework. I'm in school. I'm an old woman going to school now, and I need to fully concentrate. Then Tuesday of that next week, she says, Mom, remember that idea I told you about? And I was like, what idea,
Remember
Jada?
when I brought up that I wanted to move out?
No, that's not what she said. See, that's not what she said.
I didn't say that idea.
And then I was like, and then she said, well, he's going to pick me up Saturday night. And I just put my book down and I looked at my wrist like I had a watch on, which I didn't. And I said, oh, no, he's going to get you in the next hour. And her sister, Deborah, was in the living room, and Jada opened the closet and her bags fell out. I didn't say anything. I closed my bedroom door.
I forgot.
I didn't even know that she was gone, guys. When I came out, it was a couple of hours because I was hot. And I'm an old school mom. I'm the kind of mama, Poppy.
I boo-hoo, cried. Bobo was helping me move my stuff out. I'm about to cry now. Bobo was helping me move my stuff out the house, and we were boo-hoo crying. Like,
I wasn't crying though.
She was in the room. You weren't helping. You didn't know I was leaving, Bobo.
Right.
But you said within that hour, so I took you seriously.
And I was serious.
Yeah, right. I took you seriously. So that's when she saw the bag. So it was like the way it was happening. Her mind was like, oh, so you had no. It was like, no, I planned to leave the day I said. I just had already packed my stuff, because one thing my mama taught me is be prepared. You can't just be in there at the day you moving trying to get all the stuff together, then you're gonna be struggling by yourself. So I did it over the course of 2 days. I just had a closet. That's all I had.
You see this this is parents, if you're with me, this is the communication issue. She really thinks she fully developed that thought.
Now no.
That, it's now because she's got a baby. She's got a baby now. She's got a 2-year-old now. So her thought process is so different now.
Right.
Because she has a child.
I'm off her home. It's so tiring to take my child out the house. So, yeah.
We're laughing now. It wasn't funny back then.
It was never.
It wasn't funny.
I was depressed. I was highly depressed and didn't know. I knew what depression was, but I did not recognize, like, that I was depressed back then. I was highly depressed back then. And then when I would get in trouble, it made me feel like everybody in the world just hated me. But it was only because I was depressed. So it was like, nobody understands me. On top, I'm getting in trouble for the things I am doing. So it felt like a lot as a kid. So it just felt like you should just run. And the first bit of freedom I did, I ran because I was working at Crystal's till like 3 o'clock in the morning, because they would let me. On my last year of high school, like, I was working always, ever since like 15, 16. So once I got that little piece of change up, thought I was gone.
It was really difficult for me to see her spinning out. I knew she was depressed. I had took her to several counselors, and she was like, Mom, this is not working. This is not working. And I was like, give it some time, Jay. This is not working, Mom. It's not working. And she's always been my child that had to touch fire to see if it's hot.
I tell people that about myself.
Always. I could be sitting there at the stove describing to her, if you put your hand on that fire, it's going to burn. And she is the Johnny Cochran of our family. She, at age 6 and 7 and 8, would have this story. And explaining why she should touch the fire. She needed to understand why it was hot. And if it burned, it wasn't a mistake. I just needed to know. And that would drive me nuts. That's why we're sitting here right now. It would drive me nuts. It's good we can laugh now because we weren't laughing then.
No,
so
we were not. Let me
parents
just say
know
that we were not laughing then.
It's going to get better. It's going to get better. Our next question. Am I hard to get to or get through? When you're trying to communicate, am I hard to communicate to?
Sometimes it's getting better. And
when you say sometimes, what was the sometimes?
Sometimes it's hard to communicate because, like I'm saying now, I've been through so many different stages of life without my mom, not because of her, but because of like decisions I made or places I've lived, or me figuring out my own way. There's a lot of things that I picked up, or a lot of things that I've seen. So I act the way I act, and I think because my family wasn't there with me during those times, whether good or bad, I've lived in a lot of different areas, and not like bad, but just finding my way really. Like back from Alabama to Atlanta to Ohio, just going back and forth. I've seen a lot of things, learned a lot of things, and every time I come back to them, I've grown in a different way. Uh, Not necessarily saying that I've grown in the right ways, but I've grown in different ways. So for me to come back to them in different stages in life, I think that's where our heads kind of bump. Because there's just certain things that I just know I've been through that I haven't told them about, or I haven't, or it's not something that needs to be said. I just went through it and I know it's there, and they still affect me to this day. So some things I think because we're so close in the house, I start to feel overwhelmed by the people that I need the most. So sometimes I feel like I just need some space because these are the people that I want to call when these things happen. So if I don't have like somewhere to like just go and sit for like an hour or hour or two where I don't see anybody around, it kind of makes me feel like when I do, like I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk to the people that I keep seeing. I just kind of want to decompress. So I've started to like sit outside and do stuff like that. But it's become easier like when I sit back to talk to my mom. Sit back, try to come up with a strategy to talk to her, or try to figure out my words so they're not offensive or they're not too harsh, or she doesn't feel like I'm trying to come out too grown even though I'm older. So it's just little tweaks that are slowly helping me figure out how to communicate with my mom, because it's still a relationship at the end of the day. Just because like you're born by her doesn't mean like you're going to get along with her. So it's like a relationship that we're learning to work on together. So, but it can be hard, guys, to talk to your parents.
I think I'm easy to talk to.
Her views, okay, she's easy to talk to, but when you know you're bringing her something that necessarily doesn't line up directly with her views, it can be a hard conversation for you to bring to her, because we know what our mom stands for, we know what she believes in. Now there's some things she will open her mind up to see because it's coming from us, but at the end of the day, it is what it is with my mom. So it's really not no turning it around and flipping it. Like, it just kind of like, you know how she believes, but she will be kind to whatever your situation is, and she'll understand it. Doesn't mean she agrees with it. I can say it like that.
I'm glad she said that. I haven't, in my head, I'm having these conversations when my kids are talking. I've learned to quiet that voice. And a lot of times we're not listening. I was just preparing to say what I needed to say because she's been with me all her life, and I am kind of rigid and kind of strict, and people think rigid is bad. There's just a certain standard in my life, and I try to live as close to the word as possible. Do I mess up? And I tell my kids I mess up. I know there are a lot of parents. I've told my children I had a child out of wedlock. My children know that I had a child and I wasn't married, and I was 22 years old. My children know I quit college. My children know that I was molested as a child. So there are things that have happened to me. I never lived with my parents that I remember. And I don't remember a whole lot of stuff from being a kid. I just know I was taken from my parents. I lived in a convent. All of a sudden, my grandmother was my foster parent, and then I was living with her, and we were being mistreated. She did the best she could at what she had, but we didn't get everything we needed, and that taught me. My grandmother did what she did because those are the only tools she had in her toolbox, but she taught me what I wanted to do with my kids. It's taken me a while to get there because I've been parenting children. Now I've got to learn how to parent an adult. For us, I still see her as my 3-year-old at times, especially when she makes some of them decisions she makes. And we had a tough one several months ago. We were having a conversation. Again, I said it was heated. And this is the only child I have that's voiced goes up, uh, and I think that is the ultimate disrespect for me, for my child to raise her voice, and she doesn't think she's raising her voice, but and then being
Pause. I do. I mean, it's when I'm talking, like, it doesn't matter what I'm talking about. Like, if I'm passionate about something, like, it could literally be about hair. Out, like, and I'm debating or talking to somebody about it, like, my voice will get high, like, period, because it's just something that I'm talking about. So, like, even when I cry, my voice goes higher. So when I'm talking to my mom, of course, even when I'm not trying to be disrespectful and we're just talking, like, sometimes I don't realize my voice is there until, like, we stop or she says something that I'm like, now I just have to say I'm sorry. And I know the sorries get like, come on, but it's really not a intentional thing to like raise my voice. It's just like whenever and we're loud people anyways. Like, we're loud, like, just plain. So it's like my voice will get that high, and I understand in those situations it is disrespectful. It's just I'm not realizing in that moment, like, my voice is high. It's literally my feelings literally come out of my voice. So it's like if I feel like I'm about to cry or something, or I feel like I'm trying to say something, even if the other person's not talking over me, like, my voice will still be at that level. So that I'm trying to get better, and like I said, that's coming more with us, like, setting boundaries and deciding, like, okay, we'll take a break from the conversation, or we'll talk about it when we get home, something like that, and we can see that that's giving us better results then.
Well, we were having a heated conversation in my bedroom, and I think screaming was something that was done to me as a kid, and it still affects me now. So it may not always be her, and I'm saying this to anybody who's watching. There are certain triggers, and I think screaming is a trigger for me. And to be honest, this argument went way too far. I looked at Jada, and I was so angry, and I popped her. Now she's 22. Was I right? No. At that moment, did I feel right? Yes. But I'm not gonna make any justification. Um, Before that day ended, I had to make it right with her. And a lot of us don't apologize to our kids. I didn't apologize to make myself look good. I didn't apologize for what I said. I meant everything I said. But the tool that I was giving her, she gonna do that to her daughter. And that's not what I wanted to teach Jada. I want to be the best example of a woman that I can be. And me knocking her against the wall was not the best example. But in that, what I noticed after I hit her, Jada didn't flinch. She didn't jump. She didn't do this. She just went down. And that is something that triggered in me, that she has the most respect for me, even when I was wrong. That day, I went to her. I made it right with her. Hopefully,
Yes.
she accepted it. And we have never gotten to that level since that day.
Or ever before.
Yeah, but
I mean, she's giving us whoopings.
Yeah, I'm a whooping mama.
No, my
Yeah.
mom whooped us. Let's not be. This is totally different. My mom did whoop us, but no, before this day, it had never gotten to. My mom is not abusive. Let's just say that, okay?
I've spanked my children, but the balance, when people say, "Oh, you shouldn't spank your kids," but I've given them love. I think I've given them even balance. I've taken them
Even.
everywhere they wanted to go. We've traveled around the country. We've hung out together. We share a home at times. If I got a piece of carpet, they got a piece of carpet. I was there when her child was born. I almost passed out now, I'm telling you. I had a whole lot of babies, but I ain't never watched the baby come out. I just had to go sit on the couch and let her sister and auntie finish.
She legit almost
I was,
passed out.
but I'm just saying, the level, I mean, I didn't even think that I could go there. I didn't think. And I looked at her respect. So now I'm saying I've got to earn her respect. And my other girls were like, Ma, she deserved that. You give it to her. I understand because that's their sister, but I'm her mother. And the example I want to set, that's not the one. Just let's be real. That's not what I wanted to set. So I
And
tell you
I
that.
didn't know that.
What?
I didn't know, like, my sisters, said that. And I mean, at the same time, I get it. I get, I guess, what they are saying. But the information, I guess, that I had came across to, and that's why I said we had never been to this point. The situation that I came out of, like, affects me in ways, like, sometimes that I don't realize that's, like, happening. Um, until I think back on the situation, I'm like, they was looking at me kind of funny, or maybe I did say that kind of funny, like sometimes when they ask me where I'm going or something like that, I don't, it triggers something. Not like I don't want them to know where I'm going, but the situation I came out of was so stricken on that it made me want to be an outside person. Like, it made me be okay with my baby wanting to be outside and having that little freedom. So, like, it's not them asking me where I'm going, it's me mentally still being in that place or in that mindset. And so, like, I feel like a lot of times I feel like I'm being stepped over, but not because they're stepping over me, because nobody understands what's going on in my head or how I'm feeling in my head or how deep the situations go or the scars actually go, for them to actually get it and be like, okay, now I see why. And so that's kind of a thing also, but I can't blame them for not knowing what's going on in my head or what I went through. So it's kind of like looking at Jada like, oh, she's tripping or she's doing too much, but really, like, I don't like confrontation anymore. So, like, when it gets to that point, it's like I end up, like, shutting down. But I don't want to do that with my family. So it's kind of hard to find a balance in between when you have scars.
I said this would be difficult for me. When you see your children in pain and you cannot fix it. Oh, I can't fix her pain. I guess my greatest fear is that I'll go to sleep in God and she won't have it together. And I guess that's why I'm on her. That's my fear. That that salvation, she won't have salvation, that she won't be working for the kingdom, that she'll be an excellent mom. Those are my fears, that her career will be off. She'll find her person that'll be like awesome to her. I've been married twice. Never thought I'd be in a courthouse twice. And I know how damaging it is not to have a dad. And she hadn't been willing to admit until this year how impactful it was for my former husband to leave. I'm so glad, because I've been telling her for 6 years. I'm so glad that now she kind of gets what I've been seeing. My dad wasn't in my life, and it was impactful to me. And every little girl is looking for that kind of love. And if the very first man that's supposed to love you, who's your dad, doesn't show that to you, how do we exhibit that in our relationships? And that's a whole nother episode, y'all.
Definitely.
It's a whole nother episode.
Big definitely. Cause whoa.
Our next question. Oh wow. We already answered. The difficult challenge or situation or issue that spinned out. That was our challenge, that spinned out that day that I put my hands on my daughter. Okay. Here's another one. What was what was the worst fear of a parent when a child's at odds with them? Um, she can answer it now because she's a mom, but her baby's still on her knee. Um,
Yeah.
I had a bunch of them on my knee, and now my kids are on my heart. Is communication always good with everyone, all 10 of them, all the time? No. Um, but I meet my children where they are. Um, all my children are not in ministry. Does that make me mad? No. I just think that I need to be the best example I can so I can lead them to the kingdom. Lead them to the kingdom. Straight talk is this hard conversation. Um, I just think a lot of things that Jada's done have impacted me. They've hurt me, at times harmed me, um, made me scared for her. She's always got to touch the fire. Um, and there are times I really feel like she doesn't think it all the way through to the end. And that's my process. If I'm going to do something and I start on Monday, I'm thinking it all the way through to Sunday. I can't control everything, but I have a step by step process. And Jada kind of wings it. That frightens me. What do you think about that?
I think I do win a lot of things, but I think a lot of it comes from me having the desire, like being a mom now, but before, to take care of myself without anyone else's help has always been like my push. And now that I have a daughter, it's even more my push to be stable because my family have kept us stable. Um, and I appreciate them, but it's my goal to be able to provide for her like solely by myself, and everything else be additional that they send or that they give or that they bring. And I want her to be able to see it whether I have a partner now or I don't have a partner. I want her to be able to see like it's okay to do it either way because I saw my mom do it both ways. So you don't have to stop living because I have one child. I just make sure that not adding. I don't want her to have to worry about certain things. And I think that my thought process jumps straight to what can I make from this? Or what can I do from this? Not just money, but like what situation can I create from this and not feeling like a burden on my family. It's a guilt that I have. Um, and so they don't always see it when I try to go somewhere or I move somewhere or I go to a different area. It's to not feel like a burden because before my daughter, I was making my own money. I could give my mom money, extra money if she needed it. I wasn't, I just had the money that I needed. Like for the age I was, definitely. I'm not saying I was rich, but for the age I was, it was only certain things I was doing, certain things I could do, so I could do that. So my desire is to get back to that independent place. And I know once I get to that place, I usually do better. And it's offended my mom in the past when I say I do better when she's not around because it's like I know that my mom is there. I know that she has my back, so I kind of need that push of you got to pay your bills. You got to go get it. You have to do it. Like I actually like that pressure of knowing it's on me to do it or it's on me to go out here and, make the money for me and my daughter or get the place for me and my daughter because, she deserves it. So it's a lot that goes into my thought process that isn't seen or isn't known about because it's my thought process. Like I said, it's my thought process. So sometimes my mom sees my moves as rash or not really thought out, but honestly, I just give my motivation to I put it in like the wrong people's hands, or I end up choosing projects and it takes down from what my goal was or what I needed to do, and then my mission is unsuccessful because I have leeches around me or people just there for my energy, like people who just want you to pick them back up, and it gets tiring and you come back hurt to your family and they don't realize, you could just be hurt just by simply being around the wrong people, seeing too much of the wrong thing. It becomes trauma after a while. And you start to see that as what you deserve or what you need. So we have a lot of miscommunications. But I'm learning as I get older, it's because we have two different lives and two different mindsets. So not to be angry at my mom because she doesn't understand, just realize she wasn't there during that time and that place. So no matter what her opinion is, it's my mom's opinion, and I still have the right to my feelings and still be okay at the end of the day.
I want to always respect how she feels. I don't understand how she feels. And I made this comment one day, and it took her months to come back. Something happened, and I'm not going to disclose what happened. And I said to her, you put yourself in a position for it to happen. And she said, Mom, you saying I deserved it. That's where the break comes. Because I must learn to be more crafty in how I speak. And the person that you're speaking to has to hear not just the words, but the heart of the person. And a lot of times, now I'm the mom that's the one first at school. I'm the mom bringing the cookies.
I break a nail, I'm calling my mama. My wig not on right, I'm calling my mama. Melania's shoe turning to the left, I call my mama. So, I mean...
I'm not an overbearing mom, but if they're walking, they might not know 10 miles behind. Ooh. I've been watching. I'm there. My bigger girls will tell you, they call me their hero. I appreciate it. But I just want to catch them when they fall. And Jada has not allowed me to do that. And she's the baby.
I allow her when it's like I'm damaged to that point. I don't like to ask for help. Or I feel guilty after I made a decision. I'm like, I don't want to bring this back to her doorstep or bring this back to her. Not necessarily because I don't want to hear she was right. It's because it's like she was right. So it's like now you got another guilt sitting on top of the fact that you already need to come back. You already need to be fixed. It's like she was right and I could have never made that decision. And that's hard to come back to when you feel like you're damaging your mom by your own mistakes. So
I don't really think she's damaging me. I use that word that she's hurt me because I do feel hurt.
During those times, you might have healed from it, but during those times, especially when I came back from this very last situation, a lot of people were damaged. And a lot of people were damaged by that situation. A lot of people had to become my protector because I couldn't do it for myself. So a lot of people became at the top, and we had a lot of miscommunications when I first came home from that situation, where it was like trigger words, like I mean, using, and she not knowing the full story, so using, certain words just triggered me to go off, but it's like, because that's not the way it was. So instead of saying like, not that she knew, but to be open, instead of saying like sex, or instead of saying rape, it would be like sex. And so during those times when she would say something or we got heated, it was just like I'm throwing all my anger at my mom because she's not saying the right words. So it's triggering me as she's talking instead of us understanding each other. But it wasn't her fault because I hadn't told her the full story or wasn't able to break it down to her, so she didn't know what to call anything. So it was just, like I said, once again, my mind being in one place and being hurt and broken, and then them trying to heal me or help me get healed, but not knowing all of what's really happening. So things came out in pieces because I wasn't ready to just pour it out. Things came out in pieces. Things came out in bits and sections. So she was confused for months on what to say or how to say it because of me trying to figure out what I was supposed to say or how I was supposed to say it, where she would understand it. And I was just hurt, so I was just trying to dab on certain situations or trying to stay away from stuff that's going to make them ask more questions. So I was trying to stay on the surface, but in certain situations there is like no surface area. So once I said it, it just had to keep coming out till it was finally like out. And there's still certain things I haven't said, but there's a lot there, you know.
There are layers to our relationship, our communication. Do we always have the perfect discussion? No. Are we always not screaming and we're woo-sawing? No.
Maybe we need to turn on the camera when we talk. This was effective. Do you hear me? Effective.
She said this was effective, and not knowing how healing it would be because she's moving today. And Jada's moved quite a bit from me.
I will go.
Quite a bit.
I will spread my wings and fly.
She's moved quite a bit. I never bore my children for them to stay home. I want them to go off and be great. They know in the middle of the night that I'm praying. I'm beseeching God. I'm on the throne. But at some point, I need her to beseech God for herself. I need her to love God more than anything else. So when I do close my eyes and sleep, I know she's good. This is a work in progress, guys. It is a work in progress. We kind of tried to script it. Me and her were, for a couple of weeks and months, been saying these questions.
That it wasn't going to work that way. My mom's an on-the-spot person because she gets nervous no matter how much she prepares. So it's just kind of like she said, I'm a winger. So it's just like, hey, let's get it done. And she prepares for like months on ends. And I'm just like, we're still like going to just talk at the end of the day. But, you know, I feel like this was a good conversation, and it wasn't, I don't feel any animosity or any upsetitiveness.
That's a word, y'all, upsetitiveness?
Upsetitiveness. That's when you pissed off at your mama, so you got to say upsetitiveness.
And she knows I hate that word, pissed off.
So,
see,
that's the communication.
Her lingo. Her lingo.
So she, I feel like everything is good. I feel like, I learned some things that I didn't necessarily know today about her feelings or things, and I'm pretty sure she learned a couple of new things because stuff I hadn't told her yet that I wasn't sure when it was going to come up. Because one of those bigger arguments, that was the word that kind of took me there when she said sex, and in my head it wasn't. So that was the thing that took me there. So something new coming out in a healthy way. Proud of you, kid. We did it.
So God, this is our first episode of Straight Talk, Food for the Soul. I am hoping and praying that this helps somebody. Me allowing myself to be seen in a way. My circle of friends have seen me this way, clear and transparent. But my vision for this is that it will bring folks to the kingdom, that it will bring us to our knees, that we will go to the altar, and not the altar in church, but the altar of your heart. We're going to close it out. I love you guys. I love all my children. I love the young people I've mentored, but I love God the most. And let's just see where God takes us. Let's just see what God's going to do. And I trust he's going to do everything we ask him to. So we're going to close out our first episode. I do want to thank some folks. I thank God first. I want to thank all of my children and my grandchildren. I want to thank my pastor for giving me the freedom to move in the world, in the kingdom, the way that I do. I want to thank Pastor Daryl Nicholson, who helped me birth this. Overseer Sherrod for leading me this way. Pastor Kennedy for all his counsel for the years that he's taught me. And to my spiritual father who's gone now, Bishop James Embry, who led me to God, who taught me how to love folk regardless. So if there's anybody I forgot, I hadn't done it on purpose. But I do want to say we're ending our episode. We want to say we love you. We hope that you not only enjoy, but get a great understanding from this. And again, if you want a Straight Talk Food for the Soul coffee cup, shirt, bag.
Give me the bag. Give me the bag. Yeah.
Guys, we're out for today. I thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.